Hello and welcome to Matchday Live. Welcome to Goodison Park for the very last time. Manchester City will play here in a stadium which will be no more at the end of the season. I'll be joined pitchside like I always am by Michael Brown. No idea where he is right now. But we wanted to kick off the show and show you some of our iconic moments at this iconic stadium.
1-1 at Goodison Park. There is one final thrust forward from the visiting team. Comes down to Richards! Oh my goodness gracious me! Almost 5 minutes into the stoppage time, Micah Richards gets the equalising goal. The silence at Goodison is deafening. Here's Nasri. Nasri chips it over and seals the victory for Manchester City. Two defenders on him. Up for Mahrez. Mahrez's shot goes in off the post. City are back in front, and it's a super strike from Riyad Mahrez, set up by Bernardo Silva. Yaya Toure. Here's Aguero. Sergio Aguero! 1-1. Who else but Sergio Aguero? Manchester City need it before the half-time break, and here comes City again. Good one with the cross in. There's Haaland. There's the second goal. And now business has picked up. Erling Haaland with the second goal for Manchester City. Milner. Cross in, looking for Dzeko. Dzeko! City are in front. Edin Dzeko with the header. Just before half-time, Edin Dzeko adds to his tally for the season. It's Gundogan. Oh, it's brilliant from Ilkay Gundogan.
Bit more of that today, please. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Matchday Live. We are on Merseyside, and as FG told you, it is City's 100th and final ever men's game at Goodison Park against Everton. They are moving house in the summer, and there are the players arriving just a short time ago for the 3 o'clock kickoff. As you can see at the bottom of your screen, Pep Guardiola has made 4 changes from last week's incredible fight-back win over Crystal Palace. Savinho starts today. We just saw Scott Carson. Scott is on the bench today because Edison is not recovered from his injury at Crystal Palace. Kevin De Bruyne will captain the team today. Let me run through the team. Ortega in goal. Nico O'Reilly, the tallest man on the field, will play left back. Josko Gvardiol is in defence with Ruben Dias and Mateus Nunes there, just walking through with his headphones on, lost in thought. He's at right back. Gundogan scored that free kick we just saw last time we were at Goodison Park. He's in midfield with Nico. Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne and Savinho, that man there, will play behind Omar Marmoush in attack. So there you go. That is the team that Pep Guardiola has gone with today. Hello, everybody. I'm Chris Latchem. Jack Grealish under his hoodie. He is on the bench. And let me tell you, it's a very strong bench today for Matchday Live. Manchester City going away to Everton, and we all know it's going to be a poignant time for Everton when they leave that stadium. We'll get into all of that a little bit later on. But Manchester City, they need their points to get into the Champions League. Still a bit of jeopardy on this 24-25 season. So I've already told you who I am. It's time to meet our guests for the day. We've got one of our older stagers, not older stagers, one of our regulars, should I say, Keith Curle on the right of your screen. I'm glad you took that in the spirit intended, Curly. I don't mean to give you a dig under the ribs, but I was setting up for a debutant on your left-hand side today. Paul Lake is with us for the very first time. I can't believe it's your first time, Paul.
I can't either.
No? What's the reason behind it? Nobody picked up the phone, or
no
you were
one
dodging
has.
it?
Hopefully that'll happen more often now.
Any pre-show nerves?
No.
No, because we've spent a good bit of time chatting about our respective knee injuries pre-show, just trying to get you all calm. And Paul knows this club better than anybody else. So great to have you with us. I suppose what we want to do is get straight into this team. 4 changes from Pep Guardiola. He had to make one of them. We know that Edison is not fully fit after going off injured after that brilliant assist against Crystal Palace last week, but one of the best deputies around in Ortega.
He is, and like I say, he's someone that understands what Pep requires from this team. He's great with his feet. I don't think anyone is quite at the level of Edison, but he's not far short. But certainly he's got the trust of Pep Guardiola and the trust of his teammates.
Yeah, just looking at the defence, Nico O'Reilly is in there. Gvardiol's going to play at the back with Diaz in the centre-back, and then Mateus Nunes coming in for Rico Lewis. I wonder if height was maybe a thought process there, Kieth, playing against Everton?
Yeah, I think the game today is going to be based on how they defend or how we defend our box from the ammunition that Everton are going to put in. Make no mistake about it. They will have understood that if it's a game of football, then City will win. If it's a game of nutrition in the box and people doing their jobs, it makes it more of a level playing field.
Yeah, we might look to the height of Nico O'Reilly. He's won some headers. He scored a headed goal against Plymouth in the FA Cup. And he also scored last week. This is a different kind of goal for Nico, coming in from left-back, edge of the box here, and just cushioning that volley. A little bit of a deflection on the way in, but the technique was quality. We've just watched the under-18s coming through, Paul, and you were talking about the pathway that this club has, this brilliant pathway. We've mentioned Rico Lewis. Phil Foden is obviously in and around the first-team squad, and Nico O'Reilly is the latest cab off the rank. Yeah,
absolutely. And you can see him in that position there, because he has played as a 10, so he can...
That's not a left-back's finish,
No, it's not. It's not, again, but it just shows you what he has in his repertoire. He's got so much talent. When he sees the game, he reads the game really well. He's got a trusted left foot, and he understands what the expectations are. He's gone into Pep's arena, if you will, and he's stepped up. And he's been very, very consistent. But as we've seen throughout the years, the number of players that actually get through into Pep's squad, is so difficult to do so. So the numbers are small, but hopefully, Rico can really set the benchmark for other younger players now coming through. Because if you are good enough, Pep will give you that opportunity.
Yeah, let's move forward up the field. So Gundogan retains his place in the team. Bernardo Silva comes in today for Kovacic, who rotates out to the bench. And then ahead of them, Kevin De Bruyne. We know that this is Kevin's swan song. Enjoy him while he is still in the light blue Manchester City shirt. He's had a hand in 6 goals in his last 6 Premier League starts. 1 goal, 5 assists. He is still doing it, isn't he, at the ripe old age of 33?
Yeah, definitely. I think I mentioned him a few times before when I was on the show. He is what I call the locksmith, because teams will set up against Man City whereby they will look to be solid. Having Kevin back and firing, he sees that pass, he sees that opportunity, he sees somebody's run that other people don't see at that particular time. And again, so it's great to have him back firing, but also then with that hunger. We mentioned about Nico being back in the team. He's not in the team just because he's 6'3", let me tell you that. And then just because you're 6'3", there's more things to be a defender and being able to defend your box than just being tall. It's having that desire and that passion and that willingness to go and get hurt. And sometimes to go and make that first contact. Vitally important today, first contact in the box.
And possessing the key skills that Pep Guardiola would always place on any player is the fact that you are so good on the ball in those tight spaces, because he's grown up playing higher up the field.
He has. He's so used to that. And again, it's also around recognising what options he's got in those positions. So actually, before he gets his head up, he's fully attuned to where his teammates are going to be moving. So he'll be looking for those passes and that rhythm that City expect, especially if he's playing across the back into those midfield tight areas or playing into wider areas. And he's got good engine on him. And as we saw there, edge of the box, a predatory position there to be able to get a shot on goal. So he brings so much to the table, I would suggest. And it's an exciting proposition for City fans to know that he is just starting his journey.
Yeah, so Nico Gonzalez is going to sit with Gundogan today. We think it's going to be Bernardo, Kevin De Bruyne and Savinho in attack behind Omar Marmoush. How do you look at those 3 behind Marmoush and the creativity they offer? We can have a good look at Bernardo Silva and what he offers to this City team.
I think you always want penetration, you always want forward movement, and you always want the man on the ball to have options. Ideally, Marmoush stretching play, if you give him half a yard, any defender is not going to catch him if he gets the other side of you. And again, that movement of Bernardo Silva, I like him when he plays higher up. Again, he sees things and exploits spaces and weaknesses of opposition.
The thing is as well with Bernardo is that what he does is he gets us up the pitch. So especially if we're under the cosh, he's one of those players that you can always rely on to get the ball, to hold the ball. And as Curle's saying there, he does see that pass. He's not quite Kevin De Bruyne, but he's not far short. Yeah,
so that goal was in the reverse of this fixture. Bernardo was captain that day, and Omar Marmoush is going to play up front. Since he signed and made his debut for Manchester City, only Mo Salah has scored more Premier League goals than the Egyptian prince there. He's taken like a duck to water to this.
He has. He's been sensational. And what I love about this particular goal is he's on the move. If you watch, at the time he just recognises where that ball might land. But, again, what Curle was saying before is absolutely true. He's so quick, he's so alert, he's alive, he's hungry. He's the kind of player that will relish the opportunity, especially with Haaland being out injured. And like we say, he's scored at home at the moment, he's not scored away. So perhaps this is his opportunity today. Hopefully he'll break his duck. Yeah,
break the duck, take the opportunity, Omar. Go and show us what you can do away from the Etihad Stadium. Now, I was a bit worried about Michael Brown because when we saw FG at the top of the programme, he said, I don't know where Brownie is. I wonder if he's managed to catch up with him. Let's go back to Goodison. FG, take it away.
Yes, thank you. Welcome back to Goodison Park. I still can't believe, Brownie, we're saying this for the last time. It's an iconic stadium. You'll probably notice from the intro I put my jacket on because Mr. Michael Brown turned up looking suave as ever, and I thought, can't really let him down when you've got such a lovely jacket
It's a bit chilly, though. We've been used to the sunshine on the last few away trips, haven't we? But it's a little bit windy for my liking.
It's a windy day.
Some of us have to work all the way through today. We kept busy. You'll just go and have a little coffee and relax when the game starts.
Well, that reminds me, you can listen to this man on co-coms throughout today's game. We've just seen the Manchester City lineup, and I mean, it poses the question that I ask every week, Brownie. Who's playing where? When we look at that front three, there's all various different types of combinations, which is sort of something Pep likes with his players to move around everywhere. Potentially Kevin De Bruyne involved in that front three?
It's a secret, I'm not allowed to say. No. Could Kevin De Bruyne be that sort of false nine? Yes. I think the movement, fluidity will be important for them to come off the lines. Mahmoud's very physical, can get in behind. So I don't think it's any sort of fixed area. I think what we do know is that we want to press from the front, put them under pressure, and Everton will sort of go, right, if you're going to do that, we will go along, we will turn it around. It's a really, really interesting game. It's an iconic day for us to be here, and a day where you're looking, this is your last visit, as we've talked about. I've had some great memories here. Difficult place, the atmosphere has been really, really good, and hopefully it's a great afternoon of football.
Yeah, we saw some iconic goals at the start of the show. Now, I mean, let's talk about the atmosphere again one last time, because the way that this stadium is built is that the players are right close to the crowd everywhere they are. The crowd make loads of noise, and it's going to be a difficult one. 3 games remaining, a chance for Everton to be safe today as well.
And it's a team that are going well. We've seen since David Moyes has gone in the building, we just get some of the players now starting to drift onto the pitch, and that's what you want. You want to create a hostile, a real difficult place to come, and that sort of fairy tale ending that Everton have won. The last couple of seasons have been here. It's been a real late fight right to the end where the fans have had to rally around to save the club. So in a better position, exciting times from an Everton perspective. I think it'll be a different afternoon for football. So City have got to take hold of the game very quickly.
They have indeed. You can see behind us the players warming up. Ortega is our goalkeeper who's starting today, of course, because Edison isn't here. But we've got the Everton team news to bring to you, so we'll do that right now. So in goal is Jordan Pickford, then it's O'Brien, Tarkowski, who's the captain, Branthwaite, Mikolenko, Gay, Garner, Harrison, Decore, and Dye, and Armando Broja. Now, Broja starts back-to-back games, Beto on the bench. Is that a little bit of a surprise?
Well, it's going to be a surprise to a lot of people. I think we've watched him so many times now and thinking the potential that Broja has, what's his career going to be? Another opportunity. I think he's got the talent. He's got that little bit of something different, that little bit of quality. Yeah, it's an interesting choice. And Iliman Ndiaye, I think a few people, I knew him from Sheffield United, and people were thinking, what's he going to be like? Is that signing going to be okay for Everton? Well, hasn't he done well? I think he's got strength and ability to turn, to get into some good areas. So they're really getting a tune. Branthwaite's obviously the talking point in that defensive unit. They've had a little bit of a mix-up, but yeah, they're going really well.
They are indeed. Jack Harrison as well was involved in the Manchester City setup throughout his career. What have you made of him?
Yeah, I mean, it's such talent, isn't he? He can cause you problems. He'll be desperately trying to do well. Whenever you come up against your former team, that's so important. But yeah, it's how they're going to set up. Because again, does Broja jump onto someone on the back line of City? Can he do that defensively? So I think they've just been really, really solid. They don't want to concede goals, and that's the importance of the setup first and foremost. That David Moyes has done so well right throughout his managerial career. So it's a tough one, but I'm just interested to see how City really go at it. Can we turn them around? Can we be a little bit more dynamic and control it? So I'm looking for, it's just going to be a sad day as well, isn't it, in some ways, that you're not going to get to come again.
Yeah, we're so lucky to be here, of course, and so are our amazing supporters who are just behind the camera. We'll be back to you from Goodison Park very shortly.
FG, Michael Brown, I'm glad he found him. Thank you so much. Let's focus on Everton then, because we were just talking off air before we came on that David Moyes has gone back there, and perhaps at the start of the season you might have thought David Moyes not the most sexy of appointments, but they had Sean Dyche, they played in a certain way, they were 1 point above relegation. Moyes went back on my birthday, middle of January, and since then they are the 5th best team in the Premier League, Curly. He's worked wonders.
Yeah, he has, and I think I know David. I played with him at the early stages of both our careers in my hometown club of Bristol. And again, he's very honest, very opinionated, and very demanding. But he's got good basics, a good structure to work from, and that's the basis that he would have gone into that football club with. Like, this is what we need to do. Because, like I think you just mentioned, then when he went in there, 1 point above relegation, and the run that they've been on now has been back to basics, doing the simple things well, enjoying doing the simple things, and also then when you get an opportunity to hurt somebody, and when I say hurt, I mean put the ball in the net or put pressure on them in their box, commit to it. And I think that's what they've done. They've committed in both boxes.
Yeah. A lot of you guys will talk about the importance of, when we talk about the academy, it's not just about playing pretty football, you've got to learn how to win games. The one thing that David Moyes strikes me is he knows how to not lose games and then build from that foundation. Would that be fair?
Absolutely, yeah. And again, if you look at their midfield too as well, very solid. Will get forward, obviously, and join in, but you don't really see them as a number 8. You see them as a kind of a solid unit that will screen, that will be very aggressive when they need to be. And that's your kind of, you get the sense from this Everton team, they are very, very physical, and they will come at City and try and just compress and just basically try to bully different players, and they have got that physical prowess, so you can see that in them. What's interesting is when Curle was talking about David Moyes, is also his backroom staff. The likes of Alan Irvine, and Charlie Adam. So they've also got, a lot of experience there, but they get it. They get what Everton's all about, and you feel that in the training, in how they talk at games. It just feels like they've got their identity back.
Yeah, solid base, but they've also got the ability to drive upfield with Curle from midfield. He showed that with his late winner last week against Nottingham Forest, but also Iliman and Jai is their top goal scorer. We can have a little look at him. He's so creative from that left-hand side of the three behind the main striker in Armando Broja. I'm a little surprised. He's their top scorer with 7, hasn't delivered an assist this season. When I saw that as part of my research, I was surprised, but he shows exactly what he can do here in a tight pocket of space against City earlier in the season.
Yeah, I think it was Brown, you mentioned it before as well, is he gets into really good positions. He gets in the pockets, he's brilliant on the half turn, and he can turn defence into attack in a moment. He backs himself, he's strong for his frame as well, and he's not easily bullied. So he has a lot to offer Everton, and he's just one of those players that's either on his game or he's not. And again, it's going to be a real test to see how we can, nullify, his potential today, because, like you say, they're quick, they break forward, and they are one of those teams that if you try to assume that they're going to be, very defensively minded and just going to look to set pieces, then you're going to get undone, because they've got other qualities as well.
Yeah, they definitely do that. And if Njai isn't doing it, as you say, then they've got Dwight McNeil off the bench. And while he doesn't score as many, he's their chief creator of goals. So they have options on the bench as well. One of the things we focused on when we were talking before we came on air was the height that they have in this team, Kieth. They've got Jake O'Brien at right back will be 6'6". Tarkowski's 6'1". Jared Branthwaite 6'5". Doucouré is 6'+", and Broja up front is 6'3". They are a real threat when they get the ball in attacking positions.
And set pieces will be vitally important today, whether that's corners, free kicks, throw-ins. The ball will be coming in the box. I think there's lots of goals and games that are won by set pieces. And again, as players, or going back to the days when we were players, one thing that players didn't like doing was set pieces. Usually there's the last thing you did on a Friday, where you're marking, where you're zoning, where you're attacking set plays, and players, for some reason, used to hate it. I did. I used to hate it.
Why?
Well, mine was always simple. I always stayed back.
Still on halfway, Keith.
Yeah, or I got told a man to mark, and that was it. So my job was, right, that man's not scoring. Whereas now with the zone marking, completely different. Like as a player, I used to absolutely hate zone marking, but then when I went into management and coaching, I loved zone marking.
Can you zone mark when you've got 5 guys that can hurt you?
Yeah.
Or would it be better to go man to man?
City always zone mark. They identify the areas that they think that Everton are going to be. They overload those areas with the biggest and tallest players that they've got, or the most aggressive players they've got to go and attack and make that first contact. Personally, as a player, I used to like to man mark because I could get physical with somebody and make sure that that person did not get contact with the ball. Zone marking, you always felt like I need to focus on the ball. If the ball's coming in my area, I've got to go and make sure that I attack it.
If you're man marking, you always know who's to blame, don't you? That's your man. That's your man.
Absolutely. But again, when you talk about the physical size of Everton, even when they screen and they block, it's not Bernardo that's blocking. It's someone that's going to be maybe 6'1", 6'4", whatever. And you just see they're going to be horrible to play against. It's going to be a real test for our back four. Well, obviously, in terms of a defensive perspective, but it's going to be interesting as well to see how we're going to combat that. And when we do break, are we going to break with a real intent? Hence the reason why Savinho's probably playing for that very reason.
Yeah, I do love watching Savinho in a Man City shirt. He's an old-fashioned winger, isn't he? He loves getting at the defender,
Yep.
Happy to go outside, happy to cut inside. He's got both sets of skills that maybe some wingers have been missing over the last decade. They always seem to want to cut in and have a shot, whereas Savinho presents a bit more of an old-school threat, and I love to see it. Right, so a reminder, what we are today, it's Manchester City away at that ground there. These are aerial shots from Stanley Park. Beautiful shots of a famous old stadium. They call it the Old Lady in that part of Liverpool. And this summer, it will be no more. They're moving to Bramley Moor Dock. Brand new stadium. Manchester City did a similar thing 20-odd years ago, and it's worked for them. Everton fans will hope that it does the same for them. Now, Paul Late, you're in studio with us for the very first time on Matchday Live. It's brilliant to have you with us. Brilliant to mine your knowledge of this football club and some of your history. And we should probably focus on the fact that you were a one-club man with Manchester City as well. Do you know your stats? Do you know your numbers?
Well, in terms of games played, it's around about 135, something like that.
One out. 134, but we won't split hairs.
Right, OK. I said about, didn't I?
About, you did, yeah.
And in terms of captain, I think I'm the shortest captain in history because I was captain away at Spurs, at home to Everton, and then in the third game I did my knee against Aston Villa, and then that was basically.
Well, you'll never be beaten. You'll be in the record books forever. I don't think there's ever going to be a shorter stint captain.
I don't think so, no. I'm quite proud of that, actually. Yeah. But no, in the scheme of things, in terms of being a City from being 10 years of age and going right through, making my debut when I was still 17, all those things are milestones that I wanted to achieve. I just feel that, there was so much more potentially that I could have achieved, and that's always a frustration, that longing for what might have been. But I'm still proud of what I was able to achieve, and I was a fan before, and I'm a fan again. So I'm enjoying some fantastic times at the moment.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of the fans that were old enough to have seen you in the flesh. You're one of the players that they will always pine back to, almost as because this was a different era for Manchester City. They weren't winning Division 1 titles as it was then, or Premier League titles every other year as they do seem to now. And you came through with a real class about your game and were chopped down in your prime. That's the way that they see it.
Yeah. Well, I'd played in every position apart from the goalkeepers. So I was that utility player, like Curle, you'll know. Ian Brightwell at the time would often be that kind of player, but played more probably as a right-back in the end. But I played in every position, and you just get a feel for it. You understand what types of passes are expected, what runs are expected, and just get a real awareness, being on the half turn, checking your shoulder, all these things. You just learn. I was just learning all the time. I was hungry to learn more. So when I was made captain, I was really, really excited by that opportunity. Just been with the England World Cup squad. I missed out to Paul Parker, but Howard Kendall had told the then manager Howard Kendall that he had me in mind as a future England captain. So you can imagine coming to pre-season and I'm 10 foot tall.
Flying.
So absolutely flying and loving every minute of it, and just wanted to test myself, just seeing, what could I achieve. At City at that time, if you were flying, they were more than likely going to get sold, unfortunately. And I had, United, Arsenal, Liverpool and Glasgow Rangers were all, ready to sort of take the plunge, so to speak. So I was in a really, really good place at that time, and then that sliding doors moment happened, unfortunately.
Devastating, mate, devastating. You shared a changing room with Paul. What was he like as a club mate?
Again, it was probably difficult times for me because I never saw Paul at his best. When I came, he was in the midst of his recovery period. But I've got to say how, you can define a player and also a person, how they react to disappointment. And I've got to say it's testament to Paul, his attitude and his mindset to the injuries that he had was phenomenal, as in focused, dedicated, did everything that needed to be done to give himself the best opportunity to have a go. Again, I remember the day that Paul said it's not going to happen. It was an emotional for the changing room because we knew the work that Paul had been putting in as an individual to get him to give himself that half a chance of playing again, and then for Paul to actually say that it's not going to happen. Emotional time for us as a changing room.
Mm. I wish I'd have been around to fully enjoy your days, Paul. I'm going to have to stick on YouTube, I think, to look back. But there is a way that I can keep up with Paul's journey with this club, around this club, as part of a new documentary, City's Life After Football. Have a look at this.
Latchem was the training ground for Manchester City for all the time that I was here as a player. Walking down these streets every day for a long, long period of time certainly brings back the time, the place, the smells, the sounds, everything. It all comes back to you.
Welcome to Main Road.
Paul Lake at Manchester City, surprised, delighted.
Paul Lake slots in the fourth goal against Portsmouth Juniors.
We talk about having that kind of sliding doors moment where you suddenly, your career changes literally overnight. And I've gone from being, in my eyes, as somebody to being a nobody. My identity was just literally changed completely. And there's that recognition that you're never going to have that adulation. During that period of time, I had no life experience of anything else. So I didn't know what was coming next, and I was fearful.
Tough watch in parts. That's part of City's Life After Football documentary, Paul Lake in focus. Go check it out in full, but not until we go off air today. I want to ask you about, surely one of your favourite memories in the City team was the 5-1 win against Manchester United. You had a good game that day.
Yeah, it was a fantastic day for all of us. I mean, there was 5 of our academy players, if you will, of the centre of excellence or whatever it was in those days, that actually played. My closest pal, Jason Beckford, was on the bench as well. It was a game that we weren't expected to win. They were missing key players. We were missing key players. And after 10 minutes, all the United fans were in the wrong end of the pitch. So the game got stopped. Tony Buck spoke to all the players. I prepared you for this moment. We went out. We won every second ball, every tackle. Going at half-time, 3 goals up. I'd been involved in the second goal. And then United got back into it. Mark Hughes scored a lucky overhead kick volley, which was amazing. And then we were under the cosh. You have to say, a couple of chances. Brian Gale and Gary Fleming were playing particularly well. And then I created the 4th goal, a tap in for David Oldfield, and that cemented that 3-goal cushion. And then the game was done. We got a 5th, which was arguably the best goal. That fantastic move from Ian Bishop to David White to Andy Hinchcliffe, which kind of capped an amazing day for us. And when you're a Mancunian and you live in Manchester, the talk about it starts weeks and weeks beforehand. So you knew that there was a responsibility and accountability to get a result. And that was for us at that time, the season almost finish as high as you can, but the derby games were so important. So to get that 5-1 result against United on that particular day, was unprecedented for us. It was fantastic.
Yeah, hang it in the Louvre, 5-1 against Manchester United. We're going to play higher or lower now. I can do a higher or lower for that. 5-1, remember the 6-1, 2012, 2011 season?
That was against 10 men, though, so...
OK, you still win. So we're doing higher or lower, and that was my little segue into the game. We're going to test your knowledge on how many seasons certain clubs have been in the Premier League. It's basic. We all remember Bruce Forsyth, higher or lower. And we're going to cue it up now. So we're going to give you an easy start because it's today's opponents for Manchester City. You can see it on the screen there. And we've given you the number. Everton have been in the Premier League every single season. You said it before, you knew. 33 seasons of Premier League football. So it's simple. The next one along, you say higher or lower, and then we reveal. Do you guys want to work together or against each other on this one?
Teamwork.
Teamwork makes the dream work. OK.
Okay.
The next one is us, Manchester City. Higher or lower than Everton's 33?
Yeah, it's definitely lower, isn't it?
In agreement, Keith?
Yep.
OK, that's locked in. Let's see. Higher or lower? They say lower. Yeah, 5 lower. There were those dips down to what is now League One and back, and the rest is history. So the next team is Liverpool.
Higher.
Higher, yeah.
Higher, both in agreement. I think that's quite straightforward. It does get harder in the second half of this game, let me tell you. So they're going higher, and it's the same as Everton, 33, and they are closing in on the title. It looks like, we won't dwell on that though. Aston Villa.
Going to be close, isn't it, that? I want to say the same, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say the same, but...
I'll give you a clue.
It's lower.
Jack Grealish played a season in the Championship.
Yeah, lower.
Lower, though, yeah.
So it's going to be lower. Can you guess how many numbers? I think they only spent 2 seasons outside, but I might be wrong.
31.
31.
31, what do we think? 30, 3 seasons outside, OK. West Ham United. I seem to remember they've gone a bit yo-yo.
Lower.
You think lower than 30?
Yeah.
Hazard a guess at the number?
26.
29.
29? Got Paul Lake 29. He's hit it bob on. OK, Fulham. I think this is the tricky sequence coming through here. It feels like Fulham have never really been away. What are you saying, guys?
I think lower.
Yeah.
Didn't they have 4 years out?
Yeah,
They didn't get promoted until around about the turn of the century as well.
Lower. Yeah.
So you think lower? You going along with that, Paul?
Yeah.
Hazard a guess, number?
27?
Yeah, 27, 28.
27. I think 20.
Oh, low as that?
18.
18.
Wow, you're way off. Way off. But you got it right. So we're still...
Okay.
We've gone lower 3 times in a row. Southampton in the Premier League right now, already relegated this year. Is it higher or lower than 18 top-flight seasons?
Lower.
Paul? Ooh, he's not confident in you, Curly.
10, 11,
Nice
12, 14.
thereabouts, but yeah, I'm going to go
OK,
lower.
they're going lower than 18. It's higher, 25 seasons. What about Wolves, then? Lower or higher than 25?
Wolves were out of it.
Got a connection to Wolves,
Lower,
Curle?
yeah, I know,
It's
yeah.
going lower than 25. Paul, agree with that?
22, I think they are.
Just, yeah.
We're going to lock it in. Lower, 11, just 11 seasons. Brentford. Can it be lower than 11 seasons in the Premier League, Brentford?
Surely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think lower than 11? Brentford lower than 11? I think 6, isn't it? 6 or 7? 5.
Oh,
So that is lower than 11, that's correct. The graphic is incorrect. We'll have a word with someone off air. Ipswich, is it higher or lower than 5 seasons in the Premier League? They've had a couple of stints, haven't they? This one hasn't lasted very long.
no.
Laugh at them.
I think lower.
You're going lower than 5, Paul?
Just lower.
Just lower than 5
think,
for
yeah.
Ipswich Town. Oh, that is tight. Production crew, that is tight. It's
nasty,
higher. And the final one is AFC Bournemouth. Do we think they're higher than 6 seasons
Yes.
in the Premier
Higher.
League?
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 stints. Is it higher or lower than 6? They're going higher.
I said 8.
8. Well done. I think you only got 1 wrong. Well done. Higher or lower. What a great game. Hope you enjoyed it at home. I do like the games that we play. Now, a reminder today, Manchester City are away at Everton. Goodison Park will close its doors for the final time at the end of this season. It's time to cast our mind back on some famous memories from some of our pundits here at Matchday Live.
Just what was it like playing at Goodison? It's a stadium that's steeped in history.
Yeah, brilliant. I can actually remember going there as a kid. I must have been only about 10. My dad brought me over. I was a Liverpool fan for some reason. I ended up watching Everton and Tottenham, but it's old school. You know, it's an old stadium. Atmosphere is phenomenal, and the great thing about Everton is, I know they've not shown it in the last 10, 15 years, but they are one of the biggest clubs in the country. And when the fans go there, they walk in feeling that they know they're a big club, and the atmosphere will be absolutely electric.
Goodison is a tough place to go. Great place to go as well. It was one of my favourite grounds to play at. Atmosphere is great.
How are you feeling about the end of Goodison?
Oh yeah, emotional. I'm going to go down there to the last game. Yeah, it was obviously made my Premier League debut there, so some great memories. And the fans are really excited about the stadium, so hopefully it's a good omen for them and the transition into that. Because again, I don't think many teams, fans like to go to Goodison. So all of a sudden you go into the new stadium, and it's like brand new and it's nice, and it may not be as hostile.
A word on Goodison and what it means to the club, what it meant to you as a player and also the fans.
That's hard to put into one sentence, I've got to be honest. It's such a historic stadium for a historic and big club that is going to be no more. I think it's 132 years of playing at Goodison Park in that one stadium that isn't like many others out there, you know, with the way the tiers are set, with the way it can be intimidating. You know what it's like coming to Goodison. It's not an easy place to play football. Sometimes for the home team as well, it's not always that straightforward, but with the memories that have been there, the players, Dixie Deans played there, the World Cup was played there, you know, top players, Eusebio and Pele played there. So, yeah, it'll be really incredibly sad to see it go.
Is your Premier League debut your favourite Goodison memory?
Oh no, we played Liverpool and we beat them 3-0. So that was my first derby for Everton. That was a good one. So I had some good memories there in Europe as well. But yeah, Premier League debuts is a huge moment.
But yeah, let's go back to Goodison then and talk about your favourite memory.
Well, again,
Hello,
that's
hello,
difficult.
hello.
I think making your debut, you know, at Goodison is...
You got me, mate. All good in position,
My
mate.
first
It's
goal,
like
I scored
sardines,
against
mate.
West Brom
Horrendous.
at the Gladys Street end, but you know, it's not going to be any more at Goodison Park. But now it's up to Everton to say goodbye to the stadium in the right way, in a good way, and take everything positive
Something
about
like
what
that
makes
one.
Everton
That's a
and
couple
Goodison Park
down.
special into the new stadium, which is also fantastic.
A touch ball. Like that? Any good? Something like that?
Oh, it looks good under the lights, doesn't it?
Hello,
Goodison
hello,
Park
hello, hello,
won't have the
hello,
lights
hello.
on too many more times. What are your memories of
Hello,
playing being
hello.
at Goodison Park, Keith?
Loved playing there, especially on a Tuesday night. Like I say, the atmosphere was intense. Playing surface was always immaculate, but solid as well. Solid.
Big camber in the middle, from memory.
Yeah, you used to go right, as soon as you went out onto the pitch, you think, right, this is going to be a game of football.
Yeah.
Always had a competitive game. Whenever you went there, you had to earn anything you got. You knew that you had to earn it.
Yeah, very true, very true. And like you say, you know, in terms of the teams, and when we played, players like Graham Sharp and Adrian Heath, Trevor Stephen, Peter Reid, behind me, it's that Paul Bracewell. I mean, the players, they had a really, really good side at the time. And obviously with Howard Kendall, they'd won the league, they won, was it the Cup Winners' Cup at the time or something like that? Yeah, so it was always a fantastic experience to go to Everton.
What I love about it, this road here, all of the roads are so tight. You get your fish and chips right outside the ground.
Yeah.
It's old school. You don't get this at these new stadiums. You don't get it, well, actually, you do at the Etihad, but you don't get it at Bramley-Moore Dock. And it'll be different for the fans, but actually, I love turning up, walking down there when I'm doing my media work. Everything's so tight.
Yeah.
The staff are so friendly. Yeah. I was just telling you as well about in the tunnel. Yeah. It's, I think, the smallest tunnel in the Premier League. Yeah. You can hear everything. The players are standing up side by side. It gets the hackles up before they go out and start the game.
You just mentioned it there. You know the welcome that you got there.
Yeah,
it is a very welcoming football club from the interior staff there.
I got lost around about here, and I was like, "Where is the media entrance?" I always forget this. And this woman, she said, "I'll show you, no problem." Yeah. She took me around 3 corners of the ground and took me to the entrance. Like, you go to Tesco, you don't even get that. You know what I mean? Aisle 17, mate. Yeah. Absolutely brilliant, and it will be missed, but I'm also quite excited to see what the new stadium will be like. And any fan of this club, Manchester City, will tell you they didn't want to leave Main Road. No. But you wind the clock forward 20 years and you think, perhaps everything that we have, this studio we're sitting in here, it just wouldn't be here without the move.
No, exactly, and it's going to be difficult because they're going to have to create a new atmosphere there. You know, and again, this very intimidating at Everton, and as Leon said there, it can be for the home team as well. So there's lots of, new starts, new opportunities, but it's going to be intimidating for the home team as well, because there'll be a new expectation. But David Moyes at the helm and what he's done so far, they could go on to even bigger and better things.
Perfect timing with David Moyes coming up on the screen just behind us there. Lovely chat with Pep Guardiola. Big cuddle. I'll tell you what, I want to soak up a bit more of the Goodison atmosphere. I want to take you pitch side right now. We'll go back to FG. I can't, because he is looking at Pep Guardiola and David Moyes. He's not quite ready, but I can go now. FG, take it away.
Our players were doing their final preparations for the game. The away end is behind the camera as well. The atmosphere's building. They're looking sharp. They're looking good, aren't they, Rowdy?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, to be this close, to watch the detail, it's so good to see how much time they make themselves and the way they move it around. This is just a little feel of it, just getting used to the tempo, getting what you need out of it, just ready for kick-off. But this is where really it starts. Well, yeah, we've got a great spot here, FG.
We have got a great spot indeed here, and so have the fans behind us as well. But as we pan back to the players, like, the thing that gets me is just the quality that we see here. This is world class, isn't it? We're blessed to have so many great players. A lot of them have been there and done it, but it is a pressure game today as well.
Yeah, big game, high intensity. They know obviously the emotional side of what Everton's been through at this moment in time in regards to that change in stadium, but this is now about finishing strong, getting results, make sure that we certainly get into those Champions League positions, because it is getting tight. We're under a lot of pressure, but this is what these players enjoy, is pressure.
I mean, we're looking at the players in the middle and they can't get the ball right now. What were you like in your
might
moment?
be able to go.
There's no chance.
I used to chase around, but this is a bit of a different level, isn't it? But they're not at full tempo here. This is just 3/4 pace, just getting that right feel. But it is good, isn't it? Their touch in little tight spaces. That's the difference of level when you get to see these players now. The intensity is brilliant to watch.
I mean, how important is a fast start here, or to keep this Goodison crowd quiet, because the atmosphere is really building here as well. Outside the stadium's loud. There's a lot of Everton fans who are obviously aware of the situation they find themselves. But with that being said, we've got an away section here which is completely sold out and will be loud
these
as
guys
ever.
are going to be looking forward to this one as well, because what it brings and what it means. I tell you what was great, I was just on the other side of the pitch there, and it was David Moyes and Pep Guardiola in the centre just having a chat. When do you often see that? The two managers in a long, deep discussion. Obviously the experience, the wealth of understanding of what they've both got is brilliant, but you would love to have had a little mic next to them, wouldn't you, just to see what they're thinking. They might be talking about something else. They might be so relaxed at this moment, ready for the start of the game.
Yeah, it's going to be a great game, and I think it's a great way for us to head back to the studio, where I'm absolutely towering over Brownie, because
I am. Look, now I go on a step. Look,
oh,
so
he's done me.
Look,
he's done me over with the camera. I tried, but listen, we'll be back to you at half time. All right, we'll be hopefully bringing you some positive news at half time, but we're really looking forward to the game here, aren't we?
Yeah, can't wait.
Thank you, gents. Well, we did say that we were challenged for height in the City team, and Michael Brown just showing it there, but he was not standing on the step. FG, Brownie, thank you. We've only got a couple of minutes before we throw across to Alistair Mann for the Matchday commentary. It is City's last trip to Goodison. Tight. The fans are right on top of the pitch here. Where's this game going to be won and lost, Keith?
You've got to say in both boxes. Again, you had the clip there of the two managers, and probably a lot of people would say they'd have different fundamentals of how they see the game being played, but you've got two managers there that know how to win as well.
They certainly do, Paul.
They do, absolutely. And you've got to look at the fact that whether we've talked about it in the past around the height deficit and that kind of physical presence that Everton have, they will obviously play on that. The first 20 minutes is going to be, really cut and thrust, and City will need to get a hold of the game, try to get that tempo, and we're going to be looking into those wide areas, in particular with Savinho. Savinho, for me, will be key today, I would suggest.
And Omar Marmoush has got those 6 Premier League goals, only Salah outscoring him since he signed in January, but we're still waiting for the away goal.
Yeah, again, do I see Everton coming out and pressing City? No, I think they sit back in their shape and try and be progressive up the pitch when they do get possession of the ball. But again, it's the ugly side of the game today that City need to do very well. And if they do that very well, then it can. And you can, if you dominate possession of the ball, then you can pull Everton out of the places that they want to be in defensively, and then you can cause them lots of problems.
Fans at Goodison singing their Everton song, as we can hear. They're only going to get to do this 3 more times. This will start to feel a bit emotional for them. Does that put a bit more pressure on their team on the field?
I think it does. I think everyone talks about it, you know, and the fans will be sharing their thoughts. There'll be players, backroom staff. It will be important to everybody, you know, to sort of that kind of swan song, to be able to see the final season out in the stadium with so much history, you know, and to finish as high as they can and to give a good account of themselves.
Yeah.
So it's going to be emotional for lots of different reasons, and also the iconic game between Everton and Manchester City. You know, that's going to stop at this stadium. So there's lots of finals that are coming along for Everton fans, and it's going to be emotional every time, you know, that whistle blows before it does for the final time.
We're about to throw to the match commentary. Can I trouble you for a score prediction? First with you, Paul.
I'm looking at 2-1 City.
2-1 City. Take that all day long, Keith.
2-0.
2-0 City.
2-0.
Going to go away, keep a clean sheet and get all 3 points. Let's not forget City need those 3 points, don't they, as they target a place in the Champions League next season. They are tuning up the band. They're ready for Z-Cars to play any second now. I told you that tunnel was tight. Look how close all the players are, almost treading on each other's toes as they prepare to come out. Kevin De Bruyne will captain the team today. He will lead them out. Ortega is in goal for the injured Edison. Handshake with Jordan Pickford. Z-Cars is about to blast out at Goodison. This is City's last trip there. It's time to hand over to our Matchday commentary. You can listen to the commentary on mancity.com and on the City Plus app. And now it's our Matchday commentator. Ali Mann is with Michael Brown.
The famous Z-Cars music bellows out from the speakers above Goodison Park, and the scene is set for what should be another fascinating encounter. City at Everton, in need of points. Everton almost safe. And so for the 100th and final time, City are at Goodison Park, the iconic home of Everton. While the home supporters will have another 2 matches to say farewell, this will be City fans' final visit. And with the Blues in a very tight battle for Champions League qualification, they will be hoping for a very positive final memory to take away with them. In truth, City's recent record here has been exceptional. They've won 8 times in succession, at 9th today, and they will be in 4th in the table above Nottingham Forest and just 1 point behind Newcastle, with the Geordies away at Aston Villa later this evening. A 3-pointer for the Blues would be significant. Well, overcoming this Everton side will be a tough ask, as since David Moyes returned as the manager in January, only Liverpool and Aston Villa have beaten them. They are also unbeaten in their last 6 here at their ageing home. Predictably, it's the same 11 who showed all their quality with a 1-0 win at Nottingham Forest last weekend. Armando Broja will again lead the line. Abdoulaye Doucouré in the hole behind. It was his goal which got the points at the City ground. City, meanwhile, are 4 different to the win against Crystal Palace, 1 enforced, with Edison not fully recovered from the injury he picked up in that game. Stefan Ortega again deputises. Matheus Nunes comes in to right back. Bernardo Silva and Savinho also return. Rico Lewis, Mateo Kovacic and James McAtee miss out, but are on the bench. And it's a bench full of options, including Manuel Akanji, after his injury concerns. He has been out since February. Well, alongside me on commentary duty is the former City midfielder Michael Brown. And Michael, why is it that Everton are so difficult to beat?
Well, I think you've seen for many years this stadium, the emotional attachment that it's had, and it's right on top here. The fans get right behind and very close and compact, just like the commentary position. It's also the same, but the history here just tells you that it's a special place to come and play football, and now they've turned the corner. They're getting results, they're making a harder place under David Moyes, and they're gaining confidence, gaining belief.